When God decides to transform a person's finances, He does not require the permission of circumstances, the cooperation of the economy, or the approval of people. He moves with a power that stands above every earthly system, and He moves with a timing that is beyond human calculation. There are moments when you have tried everything in your own strength and nothing seems to shift, but then suddenly God steps in and what looked impossible begins to turn. This is the mystery of divine acceleration. When heaven intervenes, there is no delay, no hesitation, and no resistance strong enough to stop what God has ordained for your life. At the moment He speaks increase over you, the spiritual realm begins to rearrange itself in your favor. Sometimes you spend years struggling, working, and pushing with all your might, wondering when your breakthrough will finally arrive. But God does not measure your progress by the number of days or years that have passed. He measures your readiness, your willingness to trust, and your capacity to receive. The moment He sees that your heart is aligned with His purpose, He can flip your financial situation in an instant. Opportunities that were hiding begin to appear. Doors that remained shut begin to open. People who once overlooked you begin to notice you. The pace of your life begins to increase because God has chosen to accelerate what was once slow and heavy. There are divine moments where God compresses time for the sake of His children. What would normally take months may take days, and what should take years may unfold overnight. It is not because you are lucky or fortunate. It is because God is moving. His hand can erase debt, restore income, and multiply resources without warning. He can create a path where there was no path. He can release the exact provision you need with divine precision. When He steps into your finances, He does not simply bring a small improvement. He brings a complete shift that marks the beginning of a new. God's sudden financial transformation often begins at the most unexpected times. It comes after seasons of frustration, after months of feeling stuck, after nights where you wondered if things would ever get better. Right when you feel you have nothing left to give, God shows you that He has everything you need. He lets you reach the point where your strength ends so you can finally witness the power of His strength. He allows you to see that your breakthrough is not coming from your job, your connections, or your efforts alone. It is coming from Him. And when He moves, you recognize that only a divine hand could change things so quickly. You may have walked through long seasons of hunger, lack, and waiting, but you are stepping into a moment where God says, enough. Enough struggling, enough barely surviving, enough watching opportunities pass you by. He allows the delay to teach you resilience, but He never allows the delay to define your destiny. Once His appointed time arrives, nothing can hold back the blessing that is meant for you. Financial transformation becomes not just possible, but inevitable, because God Himself has chosen to intervene on your behalf. It is important to understand that God does not need perfect conditions to bless you. He can bless you in a crisis. He can bless you in a broken economy. He can bless you in a place where others are failing. His power is not limited by your surroundings. When He decides to move, He will lift you above everything that tried to hold you down. He brings increase in seasons when increase seems impossible. He brings opportunities in environments where opportunities seem absent. He creates abundance in deserts and prosperity in dry places. His intervention is not dependent on what you have. It is dependent on who He is. When God accelerates your finances, He also accelerates your influence, your stability, and your confidence. You begin to see that you are not meant to live your entire life struggling or fighting for every small victory. You were created to walk in a flow of divine provision. There is a grace that comes when God steps in, a grace that makes the difficult easy and the heavy light. You begin to solve problems faster, attract solutions easier, and make decisions with clarity. This is what happens when the hand of God lifts you into a new financial dimension. Many people think financial change requires years of grinding, saving, and sacrificing. But God can bypass natural processes when He chooses to. He can cause you to recover losses quickly, to gain opportunities suddenly, and to receive blessings that exceed logic. He does not need to follow the timelines people expect. His miracles are not limited by the size of your bank account, the level of your education, or the background you come from. When He says it is time, everything moves. Your situation changes, your atmosphere shifts, your life aligns with the abundance He has prepared for you. There is a holy speed that comes with the presence of God. It is not rushed or chaotic. It is purposeful and powerful. It carries a kind of momentum that turns ordinary moments into turning points. You begin to realize that what was once slow is now moving. What was once blocked is now flowing. And what was once empty is now being filled. You feel the shift internally before you see it externally, because God transforms your spirit first. Then your circumstances follow. It is a speed that cannot be slowed by fear, doubt, or past experience. This is why you must remain open and expectant. A single moment of divine intervention can achieve what years of effort could not. A single shift in God's timing can elevate your entire financial story. A single decision from heaven can rewrite your future. God can transform your finances suddenly, rapidly, and powerfully, because nothing is too hard for Him and nothing is too late for Him. Faith is not just a spiritual feeling, it is a force that accelerates everything connected to your life, especially your finances. When a person believes deeply, something in the unseen realm begins to align with that belief. Faith pulls opportunities closer. Faith awakens solutions that were sleeping. Faith attracts favor that would normally take years to reach you. When your faith rises, the pace of your breakthrough rises with it. God responds to faith in a way He does not respond to fear, doubt, or hesitation. Faith carries a spiritual speed that breaks the slowness from your financial journey and turns delay into divine movement. There are people who work hard, plan carefully, and do everything humanly possible, yet still move slowly in life because they lack faith. Without faith, the spiritual realm remains inactive. Resources stay stuck. Doors stay closed. Breakthroughs stay silent. But when faith activates, it sends a signal into the spiritual dimension that you are ready to receive at a higher level. Faith becomes the invitation that pulls financial increase from potential into reality. It is like turning a key in a locked door. Once faith is engaged, things begin to open with momentum. Faith does not ignore reality, it overrides it. Your bank account may show lack, your job situation may appear limited, your circumstances may suggest impossibility, but faith speaks louder than all of them. Faith declares abundance while you still see emptiness. Faith declares open doors while you still see walls. Faith declares opportunity while you still see obstacles. And because faith is spiritual, it speaks to spiritual forces that respond instantly. While natural circumstances move slowly, spiritual forces move at the speed of belief. When your faith grows, everything around you begins to shift and accelerate. Many people think they need money to start rising, but in truth, they need faith. Money follows faith. Faith does not follow money. When you develop strong faith, you begin to attract ideas, connections, and promotions that money alone could never produce. Faith sharpens your vision, clears your thinking, and heightens your awareness of divine opportunities. You start recognizing open doors that others overlook. You begin to operate with confidence in places where others hesitate. Faith is the foundation that financial acceleration is built upon. Faith is also the force that breaks the fear that slows you down. Fear whispers, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I lose everything? Fear keeps your hands tied, your voice silent, and your potential asleep. But faith says, what if it works? What if God opens the door? What if this is the moment everything changes? Faith is stronger than fear because it is rooted in divine truth, not human limitation. When faith enters, fear exits, and a new momentum enters your financial life. When a person begins to speak in faith, they accelerate their financial destiny. Words spoken from faith carry spiritual authority. They move faster than the words spoken from worry. Faith-filled declarations travel ahead of you and prepare a path for provision. When you say, my finances are rising, you are not just hoping, you are activating a spiritual law. When you say, resources are coming to me, you are giving heaven permission to release what belongs to you. Faith knows that every word spoken with confidence becomes a seed that produces rapid results. Faith not only accelerates your finances, but also strengthens your decisions. Financial acceleration requires you to recognize divine moments quickly. Without faith, you hesitate and miss opportunities. But with faith, you move with conviction. You apply boldly. You invest wisely. You act courageously. You follow instructions without delay, because faith knows that hesitation can slow down what God is trying to speed up. When you act in faith, your steps align with supernatural timing, and everything falls into place with precision. Faith also expands your capacity to receive. God may want to bless you at a higher level, but your heart must be prepared for that level. Faith stretches you. It makes you think bigger, plan bigger, expect bigger. When your expectation increases, your ability to receive increases with it. People with small faith only see small opportunities, but people with large faith see overflow, multiplication, and abundance. Financial acceleration cannot enter a heart that believes small. That is why God strengthens your faith before He strengthens your finances. Faith invites God into every detail of your financial life. Instead of handling things alone, you begin to trust Him with decisions, plans, and strategies. You allow Him to guide your steps and influence your choices. You lean on His wisdom, not just your own understanding. This alignment releases divine speed into your life because you are no longer walking in human strength alone. When God becomes your partner, your progress accelerates naturally. You begin to see results that surpass your effort and outcomes that exceed your qualifications. This is why faith is considered a spiritual accelerator. It does not merely give you hope, it gives you access. It does not simply make you feel better, it makes things move. Faith is the spiritual engine that drives financial breakthrough. When your faith rises, heaven responds, doors open, opportunities multiply, and divine timing begins to move at a pace that transforms your entire financial story. Your mindset determines your money flow, because the human mind is the very gate through which provision, opportunity, and financial increase enter, or get blocked before they ever reach you. When the mind is filled with fear, lack, and limitation, it shrinks the person's ability to see the paths God has placed around them. When someone constantly tells themselves they are weak, stuck, or incapable, they bury their own gifts under the weight of those beliefs. And this heaviness stops them from taking the steps that lead to growth. This inner atmosphere of fear becomes the wall that keeps a person away from the place where abundance was already waiting for them. Your mindset determines your money flow. Because when the mind focuses only on problems, the doors of possibility look shut. But the moment a person shifts their thinking and recognizes that God is not the God of scarcity, but the God of abundance, something begins to awaken inside. A positive mindset does not magically remove challenges, but it gives the strength to rise above them, to think clearly, and to make bolder choices. When the mind moves with faith, Opportunities that once looked impossible suddenly stand in front of you with clarity and direction. Your mindset determines your money flow because the size of your thoughts becomes the size of your steps. When someone thinks small, they act small and they only chase enough to survive. But when the mind begins to think bigger, the person grows into the version of themselves who is capable of more. Big thinking activates hidden potential, pushes a person toward new skills, new efforts, and new levels. And those steps begin to attract bigger financial breakthroughs. The mind expands first, and money follows afterward. Your mindset determines your money flow because anyone who constantly believes their provision is limited never reaches the level where greater provision was waiting. But the person who believes that God can multiply their efforts begins to search for solutions instead of surrendering to fear. Their faith keeps them moving when others give up, and that movement leads them to doors that once looked closed. The mindset of belief becomes a magnet for divine opportunities that were already written for them. Your mindset determines your money flow because the words you speak are shaped by the thoughts you carry. If your language is full of phrases like, I can't, I'm unlucky, or nothing works for me, those words become chains that limit your financial flow. But when your words shift toward gratitude, hope, courage, and expectation, those very words change the energy around your life. Positive words strengthen your inner confidence, and that confidence pushes open doors that hesitation would have kept shut. Your mindset determines your money flow because the mind acts like a magnet, pulling toward you the very things you dwell on. If your thoughts are always centered on loss, fear, and disappointment, you attract more situations that match those thoughts. But when the mind stays focused on abundance, possibility, and progress, it begins to draw in the people, ideas, and opportunities that support financial growth. What the mind meditates on eventually shows up in the person's reality, shaping their financial journey in powerful ways. Your mindset determines your money flow because those who believe they are capable and deserving will not settle for a small, restricted life. They push themselves to grow, to learn, to improve, and to walk into bigger spaces. They refuse to let fear stop them from taking bold steps, and this determination creates momentum. Self-belief becomes the foundation upon which financial success is built, and wherever strong self-belief exists, financial flow cannot remain stagnant. Your mindset determines your money flow because life often mirrors what the mind expects. If a person expects hardship, they live in a way that reinforces it. But the one who expects breakthrough moves differently, with confidence, with hope, and with readiness to receive. The mindset shifts before the situation shifts, and the person who changes their thinking becomes the person whose circumstances eventually change with them. The inner transformation always comes before the outer transformation. Your mindset determines your money flow because limited thinking leads to limited actions, and limited actions lead to limited income. But when the mind expands its vision and refuses to be trapped by old fears, it pushes the person toward new doors and new ideas. A hopeful mindset sees every day as a fresh opportunity, and that outlook creates a momentum that increases financial flow. A mind filled with belief cannot remain stuck because belief produces effort, and effort produces increase. Your mindset determines your money flow. Because a person's destiny follows the direction of their thoughts. When the mind is anchored in the certainty that God is opening doors, providing opportunities, and guiding each step, it fills the person with strength and clarity. That inner confidence becomes the force that overturns doubt and breaks through delay. The mindset of faith becomes the pathway through which abundance begins to move. Because whatever is meant for you will always find its way to you when your mindset aligns with it. Your words shape what you experience, because every word released from your mouth becomes a seed planted into the environment around you, influencing your thoughts, actions, and expectations. When a person speaks fear, fear grows. When they speak lack, lack begins to settle into their decisions. When they speak defeat, their spirit begins to shrink under the weight of those declarations. Words are not just sounds, they are spiritual forces that go ahead of you and create the atmosphere in which your life begins to unfold. And the more you repeat those negative patterns, the more powerful their influence becomes. Your words shape what you experience, because your mouth reveals what your mind truly believes. And whatever you continually confess eventually becomes the direction your life moves in. When someone says, "I will never have enough," they unconsciously make choices that limit their opportunities, avoid risks that could bless them, and accept situations that were never meant to be permanent. Their words build invisible walls around them, walls that keep blessings out and keep struggle in, until they begin to believe that the walls are part of their destiny. Your words shape what you experience, because the moment you speak something with conviction, your mind begins to search for evidence to match that statement. If a person says, "Nothing works for me," the mind highlights every failure and ignores every small success. But when someone begins to declare, "Doors are opening for me," their mind becomes alert to new opportunities they previously overlooked. Words direct the focus, and focus directs your life. Which is why a person's entire financial journey can shift the moment their confession changes your words. Shape what you experience. Because the energy behind your speech has the ability to strengthen your spirit or weaken it. A person who constantly speaks weakness starts to feel that weakness in their emotions, motivation, and confidence. But when someone speaks strength even before they feel it, those words begin to rebuild what fear tried to break. The tongue becomes the instrument that either drains a person's courage or fills them with the power to rise beyond what they once thought they could handle. Your words shape what you experience, because they influence the way you see yourself. If you continually call yourself unlucky, incapable, or undeserving, you will begin to act in alignment with those labels, stepping back from opportunities that require confidence. But when you declare that you are capable, favored, guided, and worthy, you begin to walk with a different posture. You stop shrinking in the face of challenges and start rising into your true potential. And that shift becomes the foundation upon which your financial increase begins to build itself. Your words shape what you experience, because they set the tone for your decisions. A person who speaks fear-based words makes fear-based decisions, avoiding anything that looks risky or uncomfortable. But someone who speaks faith-filled words takes brave steps, applies for better opportunities, expands their skills, and positions themselves for growth. The decisions you make today are shaped by the words you spoke yesterday, which is why the transformation of your speech becomes the transformation of your future. Your words shape what you experience, because your environment responds to the language you release. People treat you differently when they hear confidence in your voice. Opportunities flow differently when you speak with expectation. And even challenges feel lighter when your words carry strength rather than defeat. When you speak abundance, you attract people who think abundantly. When you speak progress, you draw progress toward you. When you speak purpose, your life aligns with purpose. Your words create echoes that return to you in the form of real outcomes. Your words shape what you experience, because when you speak positively, you not only shift your inner reality, but you also shift the spiritual atmosphere around you. Positive words act like keys that unlock doors your fear had closed, and they invite divine guidance to move freely in your life. When you speak breakthrough, you prepare yourself to receive breakthrough. When you speak increase, you prepare yourself for opportunities that lead to increase. Your speech becomes a bridge between what you hope for and what you eventually walk into. Your words shape what you experience because they carry the power to revive your hope in moments when your circumstances try to silence it. When a person declares strength while standing in weakness, that declaration becomes the anchor that keeps them steady. When they speak abundance while facing lack, their words keep their spirit fixed on possibility instead of limitation. Words become the fuel that keeps a person's inner fire alive, guiding them through seasons that would have broken them if silence or negativity had taken over. Your words shape what you experience because life responds to the sound you send into it. If you send out the sound of defeat, life echoes it back. But if you send out the sound of victory, life begins to rearrange itself in alignment with that. Declaration. Every day becomes influenced by the language you choose, and every blessing that begins moving toward you is either welcomed or blocked by the words you release. The moment you understand that your mouth is a tool of creation, your entire financial journey begins to shift in a new direction. Your actions attract abundance because every step you take sends a signal into the universe that you are ready for more, prepared for more, and willing to rise into the level that belongs to you. When a person remains still, hesitant or passive, opportunities pass by because there is no movement for them to connect with. But when someone takes even a small step toward growth, learning something new, applying for something greater, improving a skill, or organizing their life, that movement begins to draw abundance closer, because abundance responds to action more than it responds to wishing. Your actions attract abundance because faith without movement stays in the realm of dreams. But faith expressed through action becomes a magnet for breakthrough. When someone moves with confidence toward the direction they desire, even if the path is unclear, they activate divine guidance that would have remained silent if they had done nothing. Every time a person steps forward, it shows that they refuse to stay trapped in the same cycle. And this decision creates an energy of momentum around their life. That abundance cannot ignore your actions. Attract abundance because effort communicates seriousness. Many people want increase but do not show the commitment that increase requires. And as a result, their potential remains dormant. But when a person invests time, energy, and focus into their goals, it signals that they are ready to handle the blessing they are asking for. Effort proves capacity. And the moment capacity grows, abundance begins to flow toward that person because blessings always follow preparation. Your actions attract abundance because doing nothing keeps the mind stuck in fear. But doing something, even something small, starts breaking that fear. When someone takes a step they once hesitated to take, their confidence grows. And that new confidence becomes the foundation for bigger financial decisions. Every action you take rewires your beliefs, strengthens your identity, and reshapes how you see yourself. And once your inner self expands, the opportunities around you begin expanding as well. Your actions attract abundance because movement pushes you into environments, people, and situations that can open doors you didn't even know existed. A person who stays isolated never discovers the connections that could help them grow, but someone who takes initiative, attending events, meeting new people, exploring new ideas, creates openings for abundance to find them. Action places you in the right rooms, exposes you to the right conversations, and positions you for blessings that were never going to show up at your doorstep without your movement. Your actions attract abundance because consistency builds credibility, and credibility builds trust, and trust leads to financial elevation. People support, invest in, and open doors for those who show discipline and reliability. When you continuously show up for your goals, your habits send a message that you are ready for bigger responsibilities and bigger opportunities. This consistency becomes the magnet that pulls long-term growth, stability, and financial increase into your life. Your actions attract abundance because action transforms potential into reality. Everyone has potential, but only a few turn theirs into something visible. When you take action, you convert what is invisible inside you into something that others can recognize, support, and reward. Action brings your hidden abilities to the surface and allows those abilities to create results that multiply over time. Every small step compounds into something larger, shaping the direction of your financial future. Your actions attract abundance because movement breaks stagnation. When life feels stuck, it is often because no new actions are being taken. But the moment you do something different, change your routine, make a bold decision, challenge an old pattern, you interrupt stagnation and redirect the flow around you. This redirection pulls new blessings, new opportunities, and new energy into your life. Action shifts the atmosphere. And once the atmosphere shifts, abundance begins to move freely toward you. Your actions attract abundance because discipline creates structure, and structure supports increase. When someone organizes their finances, sets goals, manages time wisely, or cuts off distractions, they create an environment where growth cannot be resisted. Discipline builds the pathway that abundance walks on, guiding resources, ideas, and opportunities into your life in an orderly way. Without discipline, blessings slip away, but with it, every blessing that arrives has a solid place to stay and multiply. Your actions attract abundance because taking bold steps shows that you believe in your future more than your fears. When you move with courage, your spirit aligns with the level of success you desire, and that alignment draws abundance like a magnet. Boldness invites favor, pushes you into higher levels, and makes you the kind of person who cannot be ignored by opportunity. Every courageous action becomes a declaration that you are ready for more, and life responds to that declaration by sending more in your direction. Spiritual resistance is a real force that can delay progress, block opportunities, and slow the flow of blessings in a person's life. But God has the power to break every chain and dismantle every obstacle. Many people struggle financially because unseen forces oppose their increase, creating delays and confusion that seem impossible to overcome. When spiritual resistance is removed, the flow of resources, ideas, and opportunities begins to move naturally. What was once stuck begins to shift, and situations that seemed impossible start to align with divine timing, proving that breakthrough is not random, but purposeful. Spiritual resistance is broken when the mind and heart are aligned with faith, because resistance thrives on doubt, fear, and negativity. When a person begins to believe that they are worthy of increase and that God is orchestrating their financial restoration, the power of resistance weakens. The unseen forces that once caused stagnation lose their grip, and momentum starts building in favor of the individual. Every area of life begins to respond differently, as if the universe itself is rearranging to support the breakthrough that faith has declared. Spiritual resistance is broken through consistent prayer, action, and declaration, because these align the human spirit with divine authority. When someone chooses to speak truth over their life, to take steps of obedience, and to reject the lies of limitation, the chains that held them back begin to crumble. Resistance cannot stand against persistent belief and movement. Every time a person refuses to submit to doubt, a layer of blockage falls away, creating space for abundance, favor, and provision to enter. Spiritual resistance is broken when understanding the source of opposition becomes clear, because awareness illuminates the battlefield. Once a person recognizes that delays, losses, and repeated setbacks are not purely natural but spiritual, they can take intentional steps to counteract them. Faith-filled declarations, wise actions, and a disciplined mindset begin to dismantle barriers, transforming situations that once seemed hostile into environments where progress and blessing can flourish. Awareness gives strategy to prayer and power to action. Spiritual resistance is broken when persistence becomes a habit, because persistent effort wears down the barriers that hesitation or fear allow to remain strong. When someone continues to act in faith, pursue their goals, and speak victory, even in the face of opposition, the spiritual forces attempting to hold them back lose their authority. Repeated effort is a signal to the universe and to spiritual realms that the person is not giving up. And resistance cannot withstand this kind of determined movement. Spiritual resistance is broken when gratitude and praise replace fear and complaint, because spiritual forces respond to the energy of faith-filled hearts. When someone maintains a thankful attitude, even in the midst of delays or challenges, it creates an atmosphere that resistance cannot penetrate. Gratitude strengthens the soul, lifts the spirit, and reinforces trust in divine timing. This shift in energy disrupts patterns of stagnation, allowing divine favor and resources to flow into spaces that were previously blocked. Spiritual resistance is broken when vision and purpose dominate the mind, because forces of delay are powerless against someone who clearly sees their destiny. When a person is focused on their calling, aware of their goals, and unwavering in their expectation of blessing, spiritual resistance cannot redirect them. Clarity in vision aligns the mind, actions, and faith, creating a strong current that carries the individual past every obstacle. Resistance only operates in the fog of confusion, but clarity removes its hiding place. Spiritual resistance is broken when confidence in God's promises strengthens the spirit, because trust in divine provision renders fear powerless. When someone believes that God is already working on their behalf, even unseen struggles begin to fade. The mindset of assurance repels delay, attracts opportunity, and opens doors that were previously closed. Confidence becomes a shield that neutralizes resistance before it can fully manifest. And the person begins to walk in the freedom and flow that was always intended. Spiritual resistance is broken when decisive action follows faith, because resistance cannot stop movement that is guided by divine authority. Every bold step taken in alignment with God's instruction disrupts opposition, and each act of obedience strengthens the pathway for blessings to flow. The combination of faith and action becomes unstoppable as resistance loses its ability to stall progress. Momentum builds quickly once a person decides to step forward with courage and purpose, and what was once difficult begins to become achievable. Spiritual resistance is broken when a person consistently expects victory, because expectation carries power. The belief that breakthrough is coming, that provision is on the way, and that every delay has a divine purpose strengthens the mind and spirit against all opposition. Resistance cannot hold against a heart and mind fully aligned with expectation, and the universe begins to rearrange itself to match that anticipation. Once expectation is constant, the flow of resources, opportunities, and favor becomes inevitable. Preparation positions you for overflow, because God often moves faster than we are ready for. And without readiness, blessings can be missed or mishandled. Many people pray for increase, breakthrough, or provision, but when the opportunities arrive, they are unprepared to receive them fully. Preparation ensures that when doors open suddenly, you have the capacity, wisdom, and confidence to step through without hesitation. It aligns your mindset, habits, and actions with the level of blessing that is coming, creating an environment where abundance can be sustained and multiplied. Preparation positions you for overflow, because your mindset must be expanded to handle larger provision. If your thinking is still limited by fear, lack, or small expectations, sudden increase can overwhelm you or be wasted. Mental preparation involves building faith, confidence, and clarity about your worthiness and your potential. It allows you to embrace opportunities that once seemed too big and to see challenges as temporary steps toward greater wealth and influence. A prepared mind receives abundance with gratitude and uses it wisely. Preparation positions you for overflow because habits shape how you manage resources. Without the right habits, sudden financial increase can create chaos rather than stability. Learning to budget, plan, save, invest, and steward resources well ensures that any blessing that comes does not slip through your fingers. Preparation is about cultivating discipline, consistency, and foresight, so that when provision comes, you can handle it responsibly and multiply it instead of losing it through carelessness or short-sighted decisions. Preparation positions you for overflow because character influences the flow of opportunity. People of integrity, patience, and humility attract favor naturally. When your heart is ready, God's blessings can move freely without restriction. Overflow comes not just to the skilled or the ambitious, but to those whose character aligns with the responsibility of abundance. Spiritual and moral preparation ensures that you are not only ready to receive, but also ready to use what comes in a way that honors God and magnifies His provision. Preparation positions you for overflow because knowledge and skill determine the ability to capitalize on sudden opportunities. When doors of increase open unexpectedly, you must know how to step through them effectively. Learning, training, and continuous growth position you to recognize and act on opportunities that others may ignore. Preparation strengthens your ability to identify the right paths, negotiate wisely, and leverage your resources for maximum impact. The more equipped you are, the more fully you can claim the blessings that arrive. Preparation positions you for overflow because confidence builds resilience in the face of challenges that come with growth. Sudden increase often brings new responsibilities, pressures, and decisions that can intimidate an unprepared heart. When you have prepared mentally and spiritually, you can handle challenges without panic, fear, or indecision. Confidence ensures that the flow of abundance continues instead of being blocked by hesitation, self-doubt, or poor choices. The prepared person navigates growth with wisdom and grace. Preparation positions you for overflow because relationships play a critical role in sustaining and multiplying blessings. God often sends helpers, partners, and mentors to those who are ready to receive. Preparing yourself relationally means cultivating trust, collaboration, and discernment so that you can benefit fully from divine connections. Overflow is amplified when your relationships are aligned with your purpose, because preparation helps you recognize allies, avoid deception, and leverage the guidance and support that can accelerate financial growth. Preparation positions you for overflow because time management and focus determine how effectively you respond to sudden opportunities. Being prepared means prioritizing wisely, eliminating distractions, and allocating energy toward what produces results. When abundance arrives, those who are prepared can move quickly, make strategic choices, and maximize impact. Those who are unprepared may hesitate, waste precious time, or miss critical chances. Preparation creates a rhythm of readiness that allows you to respond decisively when increase comes. Preparation positions you for overflow because spiritual alignment ensures that blessings are not wasted or misused. A person aligned with God's principles can receive abundance in a way that honors purpose, multiplies impact, and sustains growth. Without spiritual preparation, blessings can lead to pride, confusion, or poor choices. Preparing spiritually involves prayer, meditation, moral clarity, and obedience, so that when God moves, your heart and mind are fully receptive to His guidance. Spiritual preparation channels the overflow in a way that brings long-term fruitfulness. Preparation positions you for overflow because anticipation creates expectation, and expectation activates action. When you prepare for increase, you are already thinking, acting, and positioning yourself as though it has already arrived. This expectation sharpens your awareness, opens your eyes to opportunities, and aligns your steps with divine timing. Overflow becomes a natural consequence because preparation has set the stage and your life is ready to receive the momentum of God's provision at full force.